This is Astranox. This is going to be a video about who you should choose as your Moonlight Selector ticket, be it a 4-star or 5-star hero. So here are the heroes that are getting nerfed. So that's how you can actually get your ML Selector ticket. And that's pretty much the only way to obtain those anyways. So Silver Blade Araminta, ML Araminta, she's getting 10% combat trueness less from the passive, and skill 3 cooldowns increased by 1 turn, and she can only inflict 2 burn effect instead of 3. Then ML Bell, can only dispel 1 buff on the enemy team instead of 2 now, and it was increased by 1 turn, the cooldown of skill 2. And the combat readiness is reduced by 20% every time one of the enemy goes, instead of 25%. So it's a heavy nerf for ML Araminta and ML Bell, as well as, I mean, Arbiter Vildred, he got nerfed. Yeah, it hurts, but it's not that bad. I'll talk about it in a few minutes. ML Armin, Crimson Armin, she definitely got hit hard, and from 30% reduction to 15% reduction on the critical hit damage received on the whole team, including herself. That's definitely like a massive nerf there, and the immunity only lasts 2 turns instead of 3 on skill 3. So definitely, I mean, she can still be used, but I'll talk about like some better options. Okay, so for the heroes that I'm gonna cover, it's pretty much all of them besides Specimen Says, and of course like ML Bell, ML Araminta I won't cover. I will not cover Crimson Armin. Maybe I'll talk a bit about her, but yeah, let's begin this thing. So first of all, I should talk about who you should replace your Crimson Armin with. So to be honest, the best choice is ML Lots. So auxiliary Lots, I have him, I've been using him a lot, and he enables you to cleave the enemy team. Just him and a cleaver together, this duo can just destroy so many different teams. You can bust through very tanky group compositions. You can include more cleavers in your setup. I personally use auxiliary Lots with Celestial Mercedes, and then there's also Challenger Domino that gets powered up, and then I have normal Shuri. There's also the speed memory imprint on Shuri, and then a bunch of crit memory imprints on the ML Domino and on ML Mercedes. And there's the attack buff on auxiliary Lots, which, well, the memory imprint, which I don't have. But anyways, that's one way to do it. You can do it with your Bloodblade Karen if you do have her. If you don't, I mean, you can do it with so many different cleave hero. So you must have a cleave hero. If you don't, well, that's unfortunate. But I mean, you might have ML Lots already. You might already have him. And if you do have him, then I mean, there's some other great options like Challenger Domino. You might not have her, and she can be used in PvE and in PvP as well. Bloodblade Karen, she's really good, but there's other cleavers in the game. But let's say I feel like there's still going to be a lot of Arbiter Vildreds in the meta after the nerf. So I mean, if you don't have her and you do have auxiliary Lots, this will like take care of dealing with these Arbiter Vildreds. But there's also Assassin Cartuja, that is a great hero. But auxiliary Lots, it's about skill 2. You just stack a bunch of speed on him, and then you can just boost whoever with like very little speed, no speed at all, and you just go like 100% crit chance, as much crit damage as possible with as much attack as possible. You want them to hit really hard, and they will because I mean, you give them between 80% to 100% combat readiness with attack buff, so it's great. Okay, so Challenger Dominal, definitely next choice. I mean, you might have her with auxiliary lot, so there's still like Assassin Cartuja. If you have Violet and you don't have Assassin Cartuja, he could be a great choice. Bloodblade Karen, maybe you really want her, and it's gonna allow you to just take out those Arbiter Vildreds real quick. I'm not gonna talk like every hero like about their skills and all that. I assume that you guys kind of know. I did make I've been making guides for Moonlight 5-star heroes in the last few days. So I've covered Dark Corvus, I've covered Judge Kisei, Martial Artist Can, and Fallen Cecilia. I will still do more of them, so check them out if you still haven't made your mind with this video. But yeah, I would say that there's some great 4-star heroes to select. Also Fighter Maya, she is really strong to tank dark threats, and she should not be underestimated, especially with the heavy debuff meta. She keeps on removing a debuff every time she's attacked, and it's 100% chance. Her damage is quite great, and with counter set anyways, and Elbrus Ritual Sword, she can definitely be super annoying to deal with. Okay, so these are the choices, but there's still, like, let's say you have most of them already. I mean, there's still Celstor Mercedes, she's great. Assassin Chloe though, she's getting buffed, so that's another plus, another thing going for her. I mean, she's already like really good, but now her skill 1 will give you speed buff, and it will deal a bit more damage, and this is reduced by 1 more turn, so it's going to be a 4-turn cooldown. She is very strong, and you can use her in PvE as well, so great contender for your ticket. If let's say you have auxiliary lots, Challenger Dominal, Assassin Cartuja, maybe you don't need him. Bloodblade Karen, maybe you have her, maybe you don't really care for her. I don't care about Fighter Maya, the battles will be a bit too long, so you just like want quick battles or something of the sort. And yeah, Assassin Chloe, definitely great in Guild Wars, a 3v3 scenario. Even in Arena, like, she can definitely snipe someone off. Huge amount of damage, she can go first and stuff like that. Anyways, let's move on to the 5-star Moonlight heroes. I'll talk about Dark Corvus. He is my most wanted. The reason is because I like slower battles. I just know that with his skill 3, because it penetrates defense and it deals ridiculous amount of damage. I mean, the soul burn almost doubles his damage, and he can pretty much take down anyone, especially if you pair him with Isaria. Just, I mean, skill 3 can be ready right away, and you can just snipe someone. If she applies the target debuff on the enemy, if he's wearing Portrait of the Saviors, I mean, he can delete a target, but he's for slower play, and he's more for offense, because of course on defense they're not going to be using soul burn, and yeah, you kind of want to build him a bit differently for your defense, but offense is where he shines the most. But like I said, he is for slower battles. Now let me talk about Judge Kisei. But to be honest, like Dark Corvus, if you can handle long battles, I'm talking like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, the lightning damage will start to pile up. So if you don't have Isaria, he can still be used, but you never know. Maybe you pull Isaria later, just save 605 Covenant bookmarks. She shows up, you get her, and that's it. Maybe she shows up in the Mystic rotation, you get her. But even without her, he can still be used. And he's gonna shine more in Guild War defense than in Arena defense. But yeah, different ways to build each heroes. Okay, so Judge Kisei, if you do have auxiliary lots, she is the best choice if you like short battles, for sure. For sure, you just need ML lots. You need Tagil's Ancient Book, just one. You get it powered up, like maxed out. You will get enough souls to use skill 2, or since that's only 2 heroes, you could bring another mage in your group, and you'll have like just 2 Tagil's Ancient Book, and just 1 copy, like plus 15, whatever, don't even need plus 15, and you'll have enough souls to just soul burn her S2. And the damage from S2 and to S3 is ridiculous. It's just that she is very demanding stat-wise. You will need an immunity set because you don't want to be countered and get provoked, stunned, whatever in between. So there's that. Plus, if you do want to land, I mean, if you want to dispel, I mean, you shouldn't totally rely on this, but it's still 75% chance is not bad if you have decent effectiveness. It's just the higher your league, the more effect resistance the enemy will be running. So there is that. But still, it's good. Like if you are able to dispel their immune set, that's really good. It's just that it's one buff. So if they're running immunity sets plus they have a fallen Cecilia, then that's 2 buffs, and your odds of removing their immunity goes down. But yeah. So now this thing, that's where like you really disrupt the enemy team. And if you did pick off the big threats on their enemy team, and if they're left out with some supports, some tanky heroes, well, you are messing up their skills right there, and it will allow you to just pick them off quite easily after that, if you haven't two-shotted them already anyways. But Judge Key says she's a great choice. The issue that I have with her is that you can't use her on defense. I mean, you could, but it's definitely not going to be the same. She's definitely not as good. It's all about the soul burn on her skill 2 that enables her to go with skill 3 afterward. Without that, I mean, she wouldn't be mentioned really here. So Judge Kise, if you have auxiliary lots, go for her if you like fast battles. You want fast battles, but it's going to be for offense. Arena, Guild Wars, offense. You can use her in PvE as well, so that's another strong point for her. Now, next one on the list is Martial Artist Ken that I want to cover. So Martial Artist Ken, he's a great hero. He can be built in so many different ways, and in lower leagues he will like push you upward for sure. Like there's so many times where like Martial Artist can just solo the enemy team and stuff like that. But you can check out my video about him, like so many different ways to build him. But he's a good contender because you can use him in PvP, in offense and in defense, which is a strong point. Like if let's say your Moonlight 5-star hero, you only have one, right? You have one that is getting nerfed. If you're a free-to-play player, well, you might not be getting a natural 5-star hero anytime soon. So you have to really like decide on a hero that will really shine for you in hopefully in multiple areas of the game. But like I said, like a Judge Kise, if you're comfortable with a hero that will just destroy enemy defenses, then with auxiliary law it's going to be great. So then you're going to have fast battles, you're going to be happy, you're going to have high offense win rate and all that. But if you want a hero that maybe you only have that one hero, that one Moonlight hero that you want to use in offense, in defense, in PvE content, well, there's some heroes like I'm gonna talk about next, Arbiter Vildred. He's that hero. Like he's one of those heroes. Ruel of Light, you can use her in multiple areas of the game. And also Spectre Tenebria, I'll talk about her a bit. But you have to like think about these things. And also it depends. Are you like, maybe you're very early game and you lucked out on one of these heroes that's gonna get nerfed. Or maybe you're just mid game. And yeah, it really depends where you are in terms of progression as well. You have to think about all these things. But Martial Artist he can definitely shines in multiple areas of the game. And that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, Arena offense, defense, Guild War offense, defense. And then you can bring him in PvE as well. I mean, not as much as Arbiter Vildred, but he can be used. He can be used. So, I mean, he looks really cool too. And he brings the 2 strongest debuffs in the game, attack down and defense down, plus self-attack buff, plus the counter attack. I mean, if he receives a critical hit, it's 100% chance. If he just gets hit, 30% chance. He doesn't even need crit chance, but there's different ways to build him. I mean, you might want crit chance because you want these to actually do some damage, but still you have the option of building him so many different ways, and that's cool. That's really cool. So that's my opinion on martial artist can. Is just to like guide you in your decision. There's no like perfect choice for everyone, like that one hero that will just like make you like your account like bring it to a whole other level. But it's almost what I want to get at now. It's Arbiter Vildred. He's kind of that star even after the nerf, you know. This will not be giving him, well, I mean, this one, you will not get the attack buff after he dies and comes back. That's the only thing that's getting changed. But still, I mean, there's Alexa's basket that's getting buffed. It's actually not here, but it will grant you 40% chance when it's maxed out, of course. Greater attack buff, not even attack buff, greater attack buff, which is 75% attack increase, and that's huge. I mean, before he only got attack buff. It's a chance. That means you can't wear Moonlight Dreamblade, which is what most players might be running right now on him. But yeah, and there's also a crit chance buff. So I mean, it's 40% each. You could luck out and get both. So I mean, there's still that in play. Moonlight Dreamblade, what's attractive with that is that if they are trying to just cleave your whole team and take him out, well, he could just evade and they might not one-shot him, like Bloodblade Karen, Chaos Axe. I mean, the different type of heroes that can just like combo, like they kill, they get an extra turn, or with like a can, you soul burn S2 and then you can use S3. Things like that. Like if he evades and survive, then you still have to kill him for him to trigger his passive. So that's really really dangerous. But he's still he's gonna be a threat, and he is in a lot of arena defenses. And that's it, man. You can bring him on offense, arena defense. You can bring him in Guild War offense, have him on Guild War defense. You can bring him in PvE. So I mean, in PvE, in Golem he's used 1.43% of the time. In Banshee he's used 5.8% of the time. That's on the global server. And in Azimanak Hunt he is used 12.2% of the time. So think about these things, and like that sounds like way more attractive when you have a hero that performs in PvP and in PvE. And you might be in early game, you might be in mid game, you might be a free-to-play player, and you're about to get that free selector ticket for a natural 5-star hero, and this could be the hero for you because he's gonna help you in so many different areas of the game, and you can just heavily invest into him, and you'll be happy with this hero even though he's getting nerfed. Yeah, Alexa's basket, you might not have it now, maybe you get it later, or you do have it. So if you have one copy, you can just power it up from the Powder of Knowledge shop. You buy that bottle and you just get it to maxed out later on. You fully limit break it. So he can definitely be a solid choice. Of course, in terms of offense in arena, he's not going to be as strong as a Judge Kisei if you want to pair him with the auxiliary lots or maybe a combat readiness boosting team. So there is that. But I mean, even the thing is, he allows for something else, and it's that maybe sometimes things don't go your way. You're not able to like destroy the enemy team with your offense, and they're going and all that. And like, I mean, he can still come back to life and still deal more damage. And as soon as he kills someone, I mean, he resets skill 3. His kit is pretty insane. Like, the thing right now is with Moonlight Dreamblade, you got the decreased hit chance, and then Moonlight Dreamblade, every time you evade, you get the attack buff. And if they have decreased hit chance, well, I mean, they have 50% chance of missing you. So this increases the chance of you triggering your attack buff from Moonlight Dreamblade. You might be still running Moonlight Dreamblade on him, you know. But just like, yeah, you might be running him on the Portrait of the Saviors, though, if you're bringing him in offense. You can just swap your artifacts, really, but you could be using Portrait on him for even on your defense, Arena, Guild Wars, or even in PvE. But he can definitely be used in multiple areas. That's why, like, I feel like that's a pretty solid choice, even after the nerf, for a lot of the players, because he's just so strong. He's still just so strong. Anyways, talking about the next hero here, Fallen Cecilia, which I have. She's a great hero. I mean, you can build her in different ways. You can build her as a bruiser, you can build her as a tank, as a support. You can check out my video covering her. So the thing is, with Elbrus Ritual Sword, and the fact that she's applying Barrier on your whole team, plus Barrier on the lowest HP hero constantly, plus the skill Nullify on the whole team, plus the constant provokes, man, like, she's quite ridiculous. So in PvP, like, you're gonna use her in Arena defense, Guild War defense. You can bring her on offense as well for Arena and Guild Wars. So that's great. Like, she can be used not only on offense but on defense. But I would say that I actually personally use her more for defense than on offense. It's just because of the way I have her built, maybe. But yeah. Now for PvE, of course, she will not be used as much. I do bring her when I'm climbing Abyss, like just autoing my runs. I don't really care about pushing to just like get it done ASAP, but just throwing this out there. And also for Spirit Altar, you can just pair her with, just bring her with 2 other damage dealer, and you don't even need any healer. Like, the barrier will sustain the group. It's gonna be fine. Well, in my case, anyways. And that's cool. So you could bring her as well in Labyrinth and raids. It's just the morale that she gives is not as high as the other heroes that I have. So I'm not sure like how good it is, but I need to cover that later with some videos. So that's pretty cool. Like, she's used in offense and defense for PvP, and she has some use in PvE. But it really depends what build you go with. But yeah. Anyways, I don't want to talk too much about her. She's a pretty solid choice. Pretty solid choice. Maybe you do have Dark Corvus. Maybe you want it. Like, maybe you already have him, and maybe you already have Judge Keeson. You like the fast play style for Arena offense, Guild War offense, stuff like that. So she could be that hero for you. Actually, I feel like she excels at her role, especially since Crimson Armament, she's about to be nerfed, right? Like, so a lot of players might be replacing their Crimson Armament with a Fallen Cecilia, but there's a lot of teams that are running Fallen Cecilia and Crimson Armament right now. It's just that if you take both out of a team, that team's gonna take a lot of damage, and that barrier, like, really, like, it does help. And the skill nullifier, it buys you some time, and if you place it at the right time on offense, well, it can definitely save you. So yeah, just saying these thoughts about her. Now let's move on to another hero. Let's move on to Maid Chloe. She's not gonna be a popular choice, but just throwing this out there. Like, this skill is very powerful. The attack buff for the whole team for 3 turns. That's quite long. 5 turn cooldown. So I've seen her paired with like some heavy, like some very dangerous offensive heroes, and what happens is that they make her like really tanky on immunity set, and if you can't like remove this immunity and control her, like stun her, silence her, something, well, she's gonna bring whoever's dead back, or just like give them attack buff plus the resurrect buff. So there is that's really dangerous. Or if you you might be able to nuke her in time, maybe using a single target damage dealer. You still have the rest of the team to deal with. So it's not a bad hero at all, and you can do some pretty cool things with her. Of course, she doesn't see as much play in the meta on defense. Maybe things will change with the nerfs, but yeah, you can use her in PvE as well. That's the thing. And she's a Soul Weaver, so you could have Celestine on her, and she's gonna be healing every time she goes with skill 1. So that's pretty cool. And there's that constant healing from the passive as well. So that's pretty cool as well, and it scales off of her max HP. And I mean, she could be one of the choice. It's just that it's hard to choose. It will be hard for you to choose. But like I said, like if you think from this perspective that you will, that maybe that Moonlight 5-star hero might be that the only Moonlight 5-star you will have for a long time, then I would like go with an Arbiter Vildred, or yeah, I mean, I would use a hero that would see more play in multiple areas of the game, because really, like, it really depends on your roster. So that's why I'm giving my thoughts quickly about each of the heroes. But that's what I wanted to say about her. Of course, she can be quite easily shut down, and there's so many heroes that, like, if you get outsped, like, their whole team might go before you, and they can just nuke out the whole team, your whole team, with some cleaves and stuff like that. But yeah, so she's not gonna be a popular choice. Just wanted to say that about her. So Ruel of Light, she's great. She's really good. If you are hit with many debuffs, I mean, well, she can only dispel with two, like, the debuffs on one hero. That's very powerful though. Like, this heal plus dispel, actually it dispels before healing, and it applies a barrier as well for 2 turns. This is a very, very strong skill. Now this, I mean, it revives a dead hero back to full HP with invincibility. So powerful, man. This is a game-changing skill right there. The healing on that is not so powerful though, but when you soul burn, it gets a lot more power. And she's very tanky. Yeah, I'll do a build for Ruel of Light. She could be that hero because she could be that hero for you because you can use her in so many areas of the game, like Arena, Guild Wars, offense and defense, and you can bring her in PvE. Like on my second account, I'm using her in PvE like constantly, and she's really great. She does heal the team just fine, and if someone dies, well, she will bring them back to life. So that's really cool. So she could definitely be a solid hero. It's just that most players might prefer like fast battles, so they're gonna go for a Judge Kisei or an Arbiter Vildred, something like that. Fawn Cecilia, like most of these heroes will be chosen maybe over her. But to be honest, if I had to choose between Fawn Cecilia and Ruel of Light, it's kind of hard to decide. It really depends on what kind of hero you have, you know. If you're already using Crow on defense, then maybe Ruel of Light would sound better. Like, but Fawn Cecilia, she's different. She's different. She just increases your team survival with she's like another layer of protection with that barrier plus the skill nullifier, and yeah, plus the disruption with the constant provokes. It's hard to say really, but Ruel, she is definitely strong, and she can tank dark threats just fine. So yeah, now there's other heroes I want to cover. There is Spectre Tenebria. That's another hero that is actually quite interesting because you can bring her in multiple areas of the game, PvP and PvE, which is really cool. And I mean, poison, of course, in PvP will not really help you unless you're trying to stack some debuffs, so you're like protecting some of the other debuffs being applied. If, like, say, the enemy team can only cleanse one at a time. But the fact that she is getting stronger every time someone dies, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And she is stealth, that you can't target her unless you're using area attacks. So in PvE, you could make her like very, very high on offense, and she's gonna be safe. And she will get stronger and stronger if there's targets that are dying. So there's that. And I mean, it stacks up to 5 times, but still, that's a lot of damage increase and survival from the defense increase. So yeah, and the nuke on that skill 3 is quite insane. There was a screenshot of I mean, I think she can hit quite easily above 500,000 on Hall of Trials. I mean, that's with defense down, weakened state, with a debuff that is boosting the damage of your team against that target. And she has to have also, like, it needs to have mage or dealing extra damage as well. But yeah, I mean, she can be used in different areas in PvE, so that's really cool, and she's safe. So in PvP, it's the same deal. Like, you could make her a bit more tanky, and she's always that threat. Like, the enemy team have to like think about like how hard is she gonna hit. Now I have to like bait her with a light tank, and maybe you can bust through that light tank because she might have a lot of damage. So yeah, but in let's say in arena defense, she won't see the player really. That's the thing. You might be able to make her work there, but you might have to make her a bit too tanky for her to be like quite like pretty solid in PvE, and also for your guild wars like off if you want to bring her offensively and in arena offense. So there's that. But she comes, she's a bit in the same boat like Arbiter Vildred, Ruel of Light, and so her Spectre Tenebria. They can be used in PvE and PvP, so that's a pretty good strength to have. So keep that in mind. I mean, maybe you do have, like maybe you like slower play, you already have Dark Corvus. Maybe you don't care about speed cleaving everything because you're already doing 100 win streak with your Dark Corvus Cecilia combo, so there's that. And I mean, she might be that hero that you're going for. Just throwing that out there. There's ML Ravi. She's underwhelming right now, but she's gonna get buffed. Pretty sure it's bound to happen. They talked about it, that they're keeping a close eye on her. And the problem is that we don't know what kind of buff they're gonna be doing. So I can't be recommending her, unfortunately. And also, like for PvP, if I had to like class those hero, let's say in order, Dark Corvus is still my number one. He's definitely like, he's too strong on offense. Some players are saying he needs to be nerfed because he can't really be stopped on on offense for arena and guild wars. He's just too strong, penetrating 100% defense with skill 3, a skill that deals insane damage, and it also, like, since you're building him with a bunch of health, he like also gains survival, which is pretty ridiculous. But I think like for PvP, he's definitely my number one on the list. And then it would be Judge Kise. It's just because I do like slower battle. But if you can't deal with long battles, Judge Kise with Auxiliary Law is just like crazy pair. And my number 3 on PvP, I think it's Fallen Cecilia. Fallen Cecilia is just like, I'm using her. I don't have Crimson Armin, and she's been allowing me to do quite well on defense. So yeah, I'm definitely yeah, I like her. I definitely like her, and she's definitely a game changer for me in PvP. So that's why she's in like my top 3 for PvP. Now for PvE, I mean, yeah, Arbiter Vildred. He's just so good. He's just so good, you know. You want to farm as Manic Hunt, you can definitely bring him. You want to farm Banshee, Auto Banshee. He's part of a lot of teams there, and I don't know what kind of morale he brings to a raid team when you go in camp, but I'm sure he can destroy in there for sure. I mean, in the Abyss, Spirit Altar, Hall of Trials, you can bring him no problem. Automaton Tower, I mean, now it's very easy. Maybe the hard version comes out and he could be that nuker for you. Maybe you're using Daydream Joker on him later on, and he's got that extra life, you know. So that's pretty cool. And decrease hit chance too, that's very powerful. If he just kills one, he resets skill 3, so maybe there's mechanics and you know, Automaton Tower, there's some squishies that just die and then you can just go with skill 3 again. Things like that, he's gonna be, I mean, I can see him being really powerful for things like that. So yeah, and for PvE, so Arbiter Vildred would be like my number 1, and then it would be Ruel of Light. and then it would be Spectre Tenebria. I don't have her, man. I mean, a lot of these Moonlight heroes I don't have, but I know they can do the